What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So yeah, I said I wasn't going to do any more political videos, and I won't do as many. But the response was overwhelming. People don't want me to stop talking politics on here altogether, so I'll talk about some things. Now, this is something I definitely want to talk about. So, I'll put a link to this article in the pinned comment in the comment section below. So, Representative Nancy Pelosi, former Speaker of the House, Democrat from California, questioned calls for Senator Diane Feinstein, longtime Democratic Senator from California, to step down over her health, arguing that she has never seen a man in that position face similar calls. Pelosi said Wednesday, "It's interesting to me. I don't know what political agendas are at work that are going after Senator Feinstein in that way. I've never seen them go after a man who was sick in the Senate in that way." Two House Democrats, Representative Ro Khanna, California, and Dean Phillips, Minnesota, have called on Feinstein to resign because of her prolonged absence from the Senate due to her health. Khanna was the first to call on the 89-year-old to step down before her term ends in 2025. While she has had a lifetime of public service, it is obvious she can no longer fulfill her duties, Khanna said on Twitter. Phillips said, "Senator Feinstein is a remarkable American whose contributions to our country are immeasurable, but I believe it's now a dereliction of duty to remain in the Senate and a dereliction of duty for those who agree to remain quiet." And I don't want to really read the rest of it. Feinstein has been absent since February due to shingles. And of course, shingles is a complication that can occur later in life for those who have ever had chickenpox. So, that's something that I might be affected by in my older age. Because the chickenpox virus never goes away, it just lays dormant. But anyway, I don't know how you guys feel on this, but first of all, Nancy Pelosi, this has nothing to do with sexism. Okay? This has nothing to do with sexism. This has to do with harsh realities on aging, and it has to do with politics. All right? Now, let me tackle the main thing here. The reason why Democrats are asking for her to step down. As we all know, the Democrats have a majority in the Senate, right? But it's a slim majority. I believe it's 51-49. And with that majority, one of the influences that Democrats could have is the appointment of federal judges. All right? Unfortunately, with Senator Feinstein out, that takes away their majority from 51 to 50. Right? So it can make it much, much more difficult for the Democrats to push through judges that they think will be more in tune with their philosophy. All right? Now, there could be an override with this. They could appoint maybe a temporary senator appointee to vote in place of Feinstein while she's out. But that would require a supermajority of 60. And Republicans are more than likely not going to join in any bipartisan effort to do this, because they don't want the Democrats to appoint judges, federal judges, right? So that's the political reason why some of these more and more Democrats are speaking up and wanting her to step down, because she's just not there, all right? Not being able to fulfill her duties as a senator as far as voting. But this is the historical aspect of it. I didn't hear Pelosi or any of these other senators or political figures taking up for Strom Thurmond and Robert Byrd. And Robert Byrd was one of them, a Democrat. Now I'll start with Strom Thurmond. Strom Thurmond, former governor of South Carolina, ran for president on a Dixiecrat ticket back in 1938. 1938. Strom Thurmond served in the Senate for something like 40-something years, if I'm not mistaken. 40-something years. And he didn't leave office until January 2003, when he was 100 years old. By that time, he was confined to a wheelchair. This is a man that had been an athlete. He was confined to a wheelchair. I think he was hard of hearing, eyesight failing. I don't know if he had dementia, but obviously, when you're 100 years old, you're not functioning at 100% capacity anymore. Like, by that I mean, he may not have been senile, but, you know, a little bit, probably considerably slower than someone in their prime. And there were calls for him to step down, but he never did. He died, I think, like 6 months later when he was 100, 5 or 6 months later at age 100. Robert Byrd died in office. I think it was June 28th or 7th, remember 28th, 2010. I still remember that date. 92 years old. He was in terrible health. He was declining mentally a little bit, physically, obviously. And the main problem that these people have when they get older like this, 80s, 90s, is their lack of availability at times. They're not able to go about their duty because they're in the hospital or they're sick. They're not able to attend important votes. And that's very important. I mean, as senator, that's pretty much what you do, is you vote. And if you're not even there to vote, then what do the people expect you to do? What do they elect you to do? Now look, Diane Feinstein, in her prime, was a capable, intelligent woman. But even her own aides have come out and said that they think that she needs to step down because they have seen over the past, I say 3 to 4 years, they've seen a decline in her mental capacity. And by that I mean forgetting things that have been said. She once had a really good memory. Now she forgets people that she met before. Has to be reintroduced to the same things. Is this Alzheimer's? I don't know. I don't know if it's Alzheimer's, but it's definitely age-related significant memory loss. When you have that, plus someone who isn't available because of their diminishing, declining health, what the fuck does that have to do with being a woman or a man? Like, come on, Nancy Pelosi, you're just making shit up. You're making shit up. And it's not like, okay, yeah, we've had senators and political figures who got sick, right? But she's extremely aged. She's almost 90. And it's not true that there haven't been men in the Senate that people thought should resign. Okay? Ted Kennedy. Remember? Many people thought before he died of brain cancer in 2009, I think it was, August 2009, there were people that thought that he should have resigned. But it never came to pass. There were some people, more recently, that thought that there were Democrats that thought that John McCain should resign when he was battling glioblastoma, the brain tumor that ultimately killed him. So that's not true at all. So at the end of the day, this is the problem I see in Washington. The baby boomer generation don't want to give up power. Those born after World War II or around World War II, they want to stay in power. We have more and more people in positions of authority in Washington who are past 70. Bernie Sanders, past 80. We have a president right now, that's 80 years old. We have a candidate for the Republican presidential nomination, former president Donald Trump, who's 77, 78 years old, 76, I guess. At some point, man, this generation has to cede power. Okay, it's time. Diane Feinstein, she's even older than most boomers. She was born in 1933. She'll turn 90 this year. 90. I understand, it's important for older people to have routine, and it keeps them younger, it keeps them going. But at what cost? At what cost? Now, I'm not saying everybody that's in their 70s and older is not capable of being a public servant. There are many people who've been older and have shown remarkable mental acuity. I know he's not the most popular person to bring up, but I remember former President Nixon. He was as bright and as articulate and as intelligent, even if you don't agree with his politics or views, all the way up to the very end of his life. But unfortunately, that proves my point. Nixon, I remember, went to Russia in March of 1994. Very vigorous, even though he's 81 years old, vigorous, articulate, still in the bully pulpit of politics. And 1 month later, he was dead. That's one of the problems when you are that aged. I mean, there's always that risk of health problems and, worse. But anyway, that's just my take on it. Tell me what you guys think.